I can remember bursting into tears to my mum, and I said, I don't want this. What am I going to do?
Welcome to Josh Smith's Great Chat Show, the place where you get the chats you won't find anywhere else. And today we are joined by a true legend, Dame Elaine Paige. Dame Elaine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You're giggling already.
I know. I can't help myself.
I love it. The most iconic laugh in the whole world, I think you have.
I don't know about that. Well, I have lost the plot on occasion on my radio show. So if you're ever feeling down in the dumps, just go to YouTube and put my name in and laugh. And actually, you know, it is quite funny.
It does the trick. I mean,
Yeah.
Your laugh gets me through every single Sunday.
Does it? Well, I
Because-
don't laugh as much these days. I don't know why. Of course, life isn't as funny, is it?
But like, it's a big day for my household because my fiance is obsessed
Really?
with you
You mean you're not?
and the show. I'm obsessed with it too, of course.
I'm
But
kidding.
he is like your number one fan. So
that's good.
it's a big day for our household.
Excellent.
And we're going to have so many great chats today. But the one conversation I really want to kick off by asking you about is the first chat you had with Andrew Lloyd Webber just after you got the role of Evita.
Oh, my goodness me. Well, I can tell you about the final audition
Oh, please.
that I did at Andrew's apartment in Belgravia. His sort of music room was a sort of music room come library, a tiny little room, not much bigger than where we are sitting now. And he had a sort of a baby grand piano in there and rows and rows of lots of wonderful books. And he and Hal Prince, the director, and Tim Rice, the lyricist, turned up. And he sat at the piano and put me through my paces, basically, got me to sing nearly the entire score of
Wow.
Evita. But one particular song that he asked me to sing again and again and again was Rainbow High. And I can remember saying to him, you know, why are you asking me to sing this song over and over and over again? Am I doing something wrong, or what's the problem? He said, no, it's just that this is probably the most difficult song in the piece because the range is, 3 octaves. And I just wanted to make sure that you would be able to sing this more than once because you've got to do it 8 shows a week. And this is the song that sifts the men from the boys, is what he said. So that was the final audition, as it were. And I think that was the one that hopefully clinched it for me.
Yeah. Working with Andrew, especially at that particular point in your career, must have been so amazing because wasn't there actually a time when you auditioned and you got offered to be the understudy of Mary Magdalene, but you turned it down?
Yes.
Why did you turn it down?
Because I had been an understudy in Hair in late 60s, and I was the understudy to the role of Sheila, played by Annabelle Levington. I was her understudy, so I'd learned the role. I knew what I would be needed if I was asked to go on. Except though that the company manager one night we'd all used to gather in the pub up the road, all the people in the tribe it was called. The chorus, basically, but it was called the Tribe. And we were all in the pub having a snifter before the show. And the company manager runs in and says, OK, he says, the role of Jeannie, she was the pregnant one that used to sing, Welcome, Sulphur Dioxide, that song. She was off. So was her first understudy, and so was the second understudy. So there was nobody to go on at all. So he looked round us all, and he said to me, "You'll do." And he grabbed hold of me, and I was dragged to the theatre. And I said, "To do what?" He said, "You're on for Jeannie." I said, "Well, I can't do that. I'm not the understudy. I don't know it. I don't know the part." He said, "Yes, you'll manage. You'll do. You're the most reliable." And I was thrown on to sing and play the role of Jeannie, of course, which I did not know. Amazingly to me, she would come up, this character had to come up through the trap door, pregnant, and sing Welcome Sulphur Dioxide, Hello, whatever it was, I can't remember it now, but and I sang the whole thing. I must have learned it through osmosis, of hearing it night after night after night, because I'd never studied it, because I wasn't the understudy for that role. Anyway, I went on. The rest of it, I can't say was as magical because
A bit patchy.
well, it was patchy because I was in the wings, literally learning the scenes, the dialogue scenes, getting a rough idea of what the dialogue scenes were all about in the wings, in between somebody else doing something. So it was all pretty nerve-wracking. I think that experience said to me, never again.
No.
The stress involved in that. I mean, I got through it. God knows it was, but I just thought, no, never again. The stress. I'm not cut out for this. And so when Jesus Christ Superstar, they asked me to understudy Mary Magdalene, it was a definite no, and I stuck to it. I never ever understudied again. That's why. It wasn't any other reason other than I couldn't handle the stress. Yeah. No, understudying for me from then on was out.
And it took 8 to 9 auditions to get the role of Evita.
It was a weekly callback scenario whereby I would always wear the same dress, the same shoes. I always pinned my hair back with combs to set that 40s look that women used to wear in the 40s. Always wore the same thing because I thought if I wear the same outfit, then they might remember, oh, it's that girl with those shoes or that girl in that blue dress again. So I always wore the same thing, sang the same songs. I had 3 audition songs. One was called On a Wonderful Day Like Today, from the first musical I ever did, Roar of the Grease Paint, Smell of the Crowd, and Anthony Newley and Leslie Bricker's show. That was a fabulous song from that show. On a Clear Day, which I think Barbara Streisand had a big hit with, lovely song. Oh, and Yesterday. And it was only many years later I thought, oh, how extraordinary, they all had day in the title. I never realised that at the time.
Because you were seizing the day.
And I seized the day. I did eventually, yeah.
And I think for you, when you look back at that time of doing Evita, your life changed overnight, didn't it? And turned your life upside down.
The press, the next day after it was announced that I got the role, it was splashed everywhere on the Evening Standard. I think it was the first place it happened because I had pals tell me that they were sitting on the tube and, looking at some chap sitting opposite reading the Evening Standard, because then we didn't have phones and things to look and listen to. We had newspapers and seeing my face splashed all over the front page. So it was sudden, yeah. And suddenly my life altered absolutely overnight because the next morning the press turned up on my doorstep. I lived in Canfield Gardens in West Hampstead, and it was a ground floor flat, and I had like a bit of a lawn and a gate, at the end before the road, and they were all there. It was like a scene from a movie, all there with their headphones on and their microphones and all staring in the window, and it was awful. We had to pull the blinds down and take the phone off the hook. I mean, it was mayhem, absolute chaos and mayhem that first morning, and very frightening actually, because I didn't expect this. I wanted the role, I wanted to play the part, but I had no idea how you were going to deal with this sudden fame and everybody wanting a piece of you. And it was very unnerving and frightening, and nobody told me how to deal with it either. I didn't have any help. The producers had rung me the night before and said, you've got to get out of there. The press will be on your doorstep. And I thought,
yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
No.
I'm nobody. But sure enough, they knew more than me. Obviously, they were right. There they were, and I couldn't get out. And what I used to do was, in between theatre jobs, I used to sing doo-wops on other famous people's albums. Like, you've probably never heard of them. You're far too young. Manfred Mann was a very big band back in the day, and I used to do backing vocals on their albums, and I had a session to do the next day, the day of the announcement that I got the part, and I couldn't get out of the flat because they were all there with their microphones, and I thought, how am I going to get there? I've got to do the job. I can't let these people down. So I donned this sort of Chinese wig thing that I'd kept from my first ever job. I played a Chinese urchin in Roar of the Grease Paint, and I donned this dark black wig and put a scarf over it and put a pair of sunglasses on, and I dashed out of the house, and they're all at me. Is she in there? Is Elaine Paige there? Does she live there? Where is she? What floor is she on? All of this stuff. And I'm going, I made out I didn't know what they were talking about, and just sort of huffed and puffed a bit and ran to my car. I had a little Mini, luckily was parked right outside at the time, and I got into the Mini and got out of the parking space And as I started to drive away down Canfield Gardens, I whipped off with a big flourish the wig and the scarf and the glasses and threw it in the back.
Oh my God,
and I
I'm
looked
obsessed.
in my rear view mirror, and I could see all these journalists running behind the car, just like you would see in a movie. I can remember somehow getting back to the house. I don't know where I met my mother or whatever. I can't quite remember what happened that evening, but I can remember bursting into tears to my mum, and I said, "I don't want this. What am I going to do? This is not what I want. I wanted to play the role, but I didn't want all the other stuff that went with it." It's something that I had to really deal with in a serious way. It was never something that sat easily with me, to be honest.
How did you process it and deal with it?
It took a long, long time. Once I'd started rehearsals, it wasn't so bad because I was cosseted, if you like. They looked after me. I had a car to pick me up, to take me to the rehearsals. I had people around me all day in the rehearsal period. Then if I was taken to a costume fitting that would last till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Long, long working days. That also became, something quite different from my early life with being an out-of-work actor. Don't do anything all day long. You just see your friends, go for a walk in the park, Suddenly every hour of the day I was busy doing something or having to learn lines or learn a new song or go for hours and hours of costume fittings. So it was a big, big, big major change to my whole life. And in the end, initially it was just rehearsals all the time. So I wasn't having to deal too much with the outside world. But doing interviews like this, or, there was a lot of that involved as well, something that I was completely not au fait with at all. I didn't know what to do or say, and I kept being asked important questions about Argentinian politics, of which, of course, I knew absolutely nothing.
You're like, let me just get my encyclopedia out. I'll be right back.
Exactly, right. So it was all rather stressful. I found that all of that aspect of it terrifying and stressful, not enjoyable at all. But the work, that's the thing. You spend your life wanting to find a good part that you can get your teeth into, and that was Ava. That was Evita for me. You have to remember it was 18 years from when I was at drama school to the time I got Evita as a bit part actress. I'd learned my craft over the years, if you like, on the job, as it were. So I was ready when it came, when that opportunity finally came. I was ready for it, and I couldn't wait to get out there and be able to do it.
Because before that, you were constantly getting down to the kind of final two, weren't you, for different big roles? Was there ever a time where you really questioned how much longer I can keep doing this for?
Just prior to Evita, really. I seriously, 18 years, that's quite a long time to, devote yourself to something and hope that the right part might come along. Or, it was just that I suddenly realised that I couldn't live like my friends were living. They had a sort of by this time, a decent way of life. They were going to the theatre, they would go out for dinner and lunches and things, and I always couldn't do that because I didn't have any money. So I was beginning to think, maybe I'm just not, I haven't got what it takes to succeed in a way not to be famous. I don't think I ever coveted that, ever. I just wanted to have a good living, to be able to make a living as a good actor. And even now, I really am, I'm not very much a person that likes to be at the centre of attention, which is ludicrous because, I've had to deal with that ever since Evita, and it's really not me.
It's such an interesting thing, isn't it? Because a lot of people who pursue a creative path in life, there are so many difficult moments. The ups, the downs, the rejection. But the one thing you got to keep looking after is your self-belief. Well,
yes, I suppose some degree, because you have to suffer a lot of rejection as an actor. You're forever auditioning for all kinds of things. Probably a lot of stuff that you're probably not entirely suitable for, but nevertheless you want to work, and so you go for, I didn't specialise in anything. I just went for anything that my agent thought I was suitable for. I would go for and hope that I would get the job. I guess you do have to have self-belief, but again, that's not something that I have a great deal of that either. Even now I question myself all the time.
Really, even now?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I'm ever really content or happy with anything that I do. I always think I can do better. But I think that's also part of being an actor. I think a lot of actors are insecure people. We're all insecure. I mean, I certainly went into it to hide. I think that was my thing. I thought, if I'm an actor, I can hide behind a character, and I know who the character is. I know what they're going to say. I know what the other people in the play are doing, why they're there, what our relationship is, So it's a safe place. That's really why I wanted to be in it, because it felt, when I was on stage, I felt safe because I knew the scenario. Whereas in real life, you're winging it a bit, aren't you? You don't know what's going to happen next.
Because your dad gave you an amazing piece of advice.
He did.
Didn't he?
Well, my father was, I think he was really somebody that would have liked to have been in the theatre himself. He was a musician. He was a drummer, and he had his own band called the Arcadians, and he was always out gigging every Friday and Saturday night. He was never at home because he was out playing in his band. And just prior to Evita, when I was already saying to them, I think clearly this is not working out, and I've devoted 18 years of my life, and I was still nowhere, and I don't have any money, and da-di-da-di-da. And he said to me, you know what? He said, you must have something, because you keep getting down to the last 2 or 3 each time you go for whatever it is. Stick with it just a bit longer, and maybe your number will come up. He said, talent will out, he said initially. And then he said to me later, perseverance furthers. Because I'd been in hair, and I used to look at the I Ching. It's a book of Proverbs, and Confucius says perseverance furthers. And I used to, bang on to them when I was in hair about being a hippie and philosophy and all of that kind of thing. And he said, well, Confucius says, and it's true, perseverance furthers. So I hung on to that. And as luck would have it, thank you, a 5-foot tall woman called Eva Perron
came into your life.
Came into my life. Thank heavens she was only 5 foot, not 6'4".
Thank God. Before we carry on this great chat, what are you doing, babes? Make sure you subscribe to the show. And what's so interesting about what happened to you after Evita is you didn't really work for a year afterwards.
Well, it was certainly I had a long 6 months out.
Yeah.
I mean, I had been in Evita nearly 2 years, and I was tired. I was so exhausted. But Hal Prince, the director, had said to me, don't be too quick to give this up, because to find a role like this in a career they don't come along 10 a penny, Don't be too quick to leave. But I'd done 2 years, and I thought, well, that's quite long enough. And I was so tired. So I decided to make the move and to leave. And 6 months later, when I was still out of work, but rested by now, starting to think, oh, gosh, maybe he was right. Maybe I should have stayed longer and I'm going to be, that's it. I'm a one-hit wonder. I started to think that until, of course, the accident with Judi Dench, breaking her Achilles heel in Cats, because I was nothing to do with Cats initially. And then hearing that song one night in the car on my way home from a dinner party and seeing this old mangy old cat come walking up to me when I was trying to get my keys in the door. And I'd just heard a fragment of the tune on the car radio, and it was midnight because I was coming home from this dinner party, and the DJ, I always remember it, it's so spooky, this story. The DJ said, I'll play the whole of Andrew Lloyd Webber's new tune to his new musical Cats after the midnight news. And as I dashed out of the car, trying to get the keys into the house, this in the darkness, because I lived in a little street and all these little cottages, and this mangy old cat, black cat, came staggering toward. It was so thin and bedraggled. I was trying to get it to cross my path because my mother had said to me, having been out of work for a few months after Evita,
avoid cats.
No, she said, if you see a black cat, get it to cross your path. It brings good luck. So I'm trying to usher this cat across
You're like,
my...
please come this
on.
way.
So it did. It crossed my path, and I rushed into the house, put the cassette in, taped the tune after the midnight news, left the front door open, and the cat followed me in. And it was so mangy, I gave it a saucer of milk, shut the door, and then heard that tune for the first time, Memory.
Wow. A
tune, no lyrics, just this beautiful, beautiful melody that just... I don't know, it just hit me somehow. touched me in such a way, and I thought, gosh, I'm going to have to ring Andrew tomorrow and say to him, I've got to record this song. I know I'm nothing to do with the show, but you've got to let me record this tune. And I didn't have to do it because the phone rang and it was Cameron Mackintosh telling me that Judy had had an accident, and they were thinking, would I like to take over the role of Grisabella?
Wow.
And he said, but it's not Evita. He said, you have to know it's a cameo role. It's a small role and you only have one song. And I said, it wouldn't be called Memory by any chance, would it? And he said, yeah, that's it. That's the one song. And I went, weird.
Do you believe in signs?
Well, that you can't.
You can't, because
how
that
can you
is
not believe
the biggest sign
Isn't that,
ever.
Ever. I mean, I tell that story and it sounds like it's a made-up story,
It's
doesn't
the best
it?
story ever, Elaine.
It's true, absolutely true. And not only is it true, the cat, who I then named Grisabella, stayed with me for the rest of her life, and I've still got her ashes at home. I know that's a bit weird, but yeah, I've still got her ashes with me.
But she's your good luck charm.
Yeah. So that was cats. Handed to me on a saucer.
Saucer of milk for table one.
Yeah.
And you're such an incredible performer, not only on stage, but you've gone through a lot behind the scenes as well.
Of course. Not all roses.
No. And you discovered you had breast cancer while you were doing Sunset Boulevard, didn't you?
That was a terrible shock. Sunset Boulevard was another one. I mean, I wasn't initially involved with that either. And Betty Buckley was playing the role in London. And I received a phone call from Andrew, again, saying...
it's the Andrew Lloyd Webber hotline.
Yeah, hello. It's me again. We've got another problem. No, I'm kidding. But it is odd that, some of the successes have come via others' demise. And this time it was Betty Buckley who'd been hauled off to hospital with some serious appendicitis. And it was just coming up to the Christmas period, and Andrew was worried that the ticket sales would probably take a dive or something.
Like, we know who sells tickets. Get her in.
And he said, would I like to consider taking over the role for a 6-week period? So I thought, sounds good, this, because, I'm not signed up for months on end, and fantastic role, which I would have loved to have played in the first place, but I couldn't because I was performing in Piaf. I was starring in that at the time. So I'm doing a Sunset, and it's coming toward the end of the run, and I'd had this sort of lump in my breast, and my assistant Kate said to me, you've got to get that tested, it can't be right. Anyway, one thing and another, and you keep putting these things off, as one does. Eventually I went to my gynecologist and explained, and he sort of had a fumble about and said, no, it's nothing, it's your age, it's menopause, early menopause, and blah, blah, blah. And he put me off, and that was that. And another few weeks went by, and it was getting worse and bigger. I went back again, and he again rejected me and passed me off and said, it's fine, it's nothing, it's not cancer, don't worry about it. This happened 3 times. I'll never forgive him for it, really. Lucky for me, it was a slow-growing cancerous lump. And what happened was, in the end, I was, Sunset Boulevard, laying in bed on a Sunday morning, as I was wont to do, because it was, again, another exhausting role. I had seen a magazine article about how you could have this, a biopsy. They sent it for a biopsy. Anyway, it came back, and the doctor that had done this, Mr. Elliott, his name was, I'm laying in bed, and the phone rings, and and I answer the phone by my bed. And yes, and he said, "Oh, hello, this is Mr. Elliott here. Can I speak to Elaine Paige?" And I said, "Yes, speaking." I didn't, dong dong. I didn't put the two together. I thought, who is this man? I said, "I'm awfully sorry. You're going to have to remind me why I know you." And he said, "Well, you came to see me this week for a biopsy, and I'm ringing." I said, "Oh, right, got it." I still didn't put 2 and 2 together. To which he then said, "I need you to come in." This was a Sunday. "I need you to come in first thing Monday morning, tomorrow morning, for surgery. I need to remove this lump." And I suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, and I said to him, "Are you telling me I've got cancer?" And he said, "Well, I can't say that for definite right now. That's why I need you to come in to remove this lump so that we can send it away for analysis, and then I can tell you." And I felt sick. I mean, it just was overwhelming. He didn't actually say it in so many words at that point, but eventually, of course, it turned out to be cancer. And I had one more week to go in the run of Sunset in London, and I said to him, I can't come in tomorrow morning, I've got a show to do. I've got a whole 1 week left. He said, I'm sorry, you are coming in. He was very decisive about it and made me realise how serious it was. So I did go in Monday morning. My friend took me, and I had general anaesthetic, and it was removed, and I came out with a load of wadding and goodness knows what, and went on and did the show that night and the following week for the whole of the week. Nobody knew. The only person who knew was my dresser. It was harrowing because you're facing your own mortality, and you realise that it sort of puts everything into perspective, you know, what's really important in life. But some of those performances I did that week, and of course it was the last week, I had lots of friends and family and people coming in to see the show for the last time, wanting to take me out for dinner in the evening after the show and everything. I mean, and here I am knowing what I knew, and it was very emotional.
Very
Some of the most
lonely, I
emotional
imagine.
shows, performances I probably ever gave. Some of my best as well, probably, because the emotions were so high, you know, so at the surface. Oh, it was just jolly difficult. But, you know, I managed to get through the whole thing. And the following weekend, I got through that week. And the following Monday, I went in and had the full surgery and have, you know, survived to tell the tale and no problems since.
And you go through that really, really tough moment in your life. And at the end of that, you finally make it to Broadway.
Yeah.
Did it
Yes.
feel like all the stars
Well, it was
aligned in a very strange way
again,
for you?
it was one of those weird things. I just thought, oh my gosh, it's like Evita Take Two, because it was, you know, so many years before I got to Broadway. But by then I was known now for Evita and for Cats. I'd done chess as well. So in terms of albums and everything, I was known in America for my work, although they'd never seen me. And so when it came to doing Sunset Boulevard on Broadway, I had a ready-made audience that were, you know, and Andrew was thrilled because all the ticket sales went up again, and his show lasted for another year, unexpectedly, because everybody wanted to come and see this woman that they hadn't seen in Evita, they hadn't seen in Cats, and they hadn't seen in chess. And suddenly here I was in Sunset Boulevard. So it was wonderful because it was the perfect timing. It was well worth waiting for, really, because it was just like Evita all over again, only it was Sunset Boulevard and Norma Desmond.
I mean, you are someone who is so full of great chat. You're the definition of
I
great
talk
chat.
too much, probably.
No,
my
it's
mum always
perfect.
said you talk too much.
My mum also said that to me, and now I made a career out of it. So it's
Well,
worked
there
out
you
well
are.
for everyone.
There you are. Then we're in the right place.
But you must have had so many incredible chats that have left a lasting impact on you. Is there a great chat that's really lasted with you and stuck with you?
Well, I can remember working with Stephen Sondheim on Follies about 16 years ago now, I suppose. He said, don't overthink it. Don't do too much. He said Oscar Hammerstein taught him simplicity is everything. And he said, so just hang on to that. He said, less is more.
I love that line.
And of course it is something that people in the theatre, we always say this, or it's said to you. But coming from the great man, Stephen Sondheim, who is such a man of words, wonderful words, lyric writer, it meant a great deal.
And you get to now share all this incredible knowledge that you've learned with a new generation. So I wanted to ask you about this conversation you had with Rachel Zegler backstage at Evita when she was playing Evita last summer, and obviously you originated the role. Tell me what was going on.
Well, I was oh, look at her.
Because obviously, if in case you didn't know and you haven't been on the internet last year, Rachel did Evita on the West End.
I went
and
to
this is
see
such
her.
a special moment of two Evitas meeting. What did you guys chat about?
Well, we talked about the role, you know, what it takes to do it. And she's a charming young lady, I must say. She sang it so beautifully. And when she sang Argentina, you know, when you're sitting in the auditorium.
Oh, it was incredible.
You saw that, right?
Oh, my God.
That filming that they did with her walking
Spectacular.
out through the theatre, out onto the balcony, and then
The shivers. It was
you're
shivers.
behind her, aren't you? So you see the people out on the street. Well, I got the shivers and I got really emotional about it. But that photograph, I'm actually looking at it. I said to her, "Oh, you're so tiny." She's tiny. And I said, "I looked like that once because I was that tiny when I played Evita." But that's 48 years ago.
Yeah. There's something I wanted to ask you because you have been in this industry for 60 years, which is extraordinary staying power.
I know.
And you kind of bucked a trend for women in the entertainment industry. Because there is this idea, and I was speaking to Jodie Foster about this on the podcast before, where she was saying, as a woman, you're kind of expected to become invisible and to disappear. And she said she was talking about dealing with ageism.
How old is she?
She's in her 60s now.
Okay.
Have you had to deal with ageism in your career?
Probably not, no, because I'm not really in it anymore in that sense.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, the weird thing is I never think of myself as the age I really am. In my head, I'm still like 25 or 30 years old. No, I haven't come across ageism. And I never think of myself as... doesn't come up on my radar, that. But I mean, I guess, you know, if I was still wanting to play roles, I guess I would be playing grannies now. I wouldn't be playing, you know, I'd be playing older women, wouldn't I? And then let's face it, there aren't that many roles for people, older women, because we don't want to see old women on the telly or on the films, do we? We want to see beauty, don't we? We do.
Do we want to make more space for that, do you think?
Well, I mean, there are wonderful actresses. There's Anne Reid or Judi Dench. She's still working. She was doing the Bond films well into her 60s. I mean, there are roles for older ladies and older men, but I think the guys get away with it easier somehow. But there definitely are not the roles for older women. And if you're an actor and you're older, you probably do feel a bit marginalised. Yeah, I guess you do. It's just the way of life, isn't it? Every dog has his day. Meryl Streep, I just saw her last night in Devil Wears Prada. She looks amazing.
She's incredible.
And she must be 60-something or 70 now.
Yeah, she's in her 70s now.
Is she?
Yeah.
Well, she's had it all done, darling. And I was sitting there thinking, I think I'm going to have to do something. But then I think, what's the point?
You are not stopping anytime soon. After 22 solo albums, you're now going to release your 23rd
It's mad, isn't
solo
it?
album, which is incredible. And what I love about this album is that you've already got a fan of this, haven't you, from when you got your damehood, and you promised the king that you're going to send him an album.
Oh, are we calling the king a fan, are we?
Have we sent the album over yet?
Not yet, because it's only just been mastered. I've just got, in fact, the master copy today on my phone, and I'm looking at it, and I've got all these instructions of what I've got to do to hear it. I haven't got a clue. I don't know what to do. There's a zip and everything.
We've got
I've
lot of tech
to
support at
unzip
Spotify. Don't worry, they can help you.
Can they tell us?
They can tell you.
We're in the right place. Yeah, but I got it today. I got the master copy today, so I haven't yet heard it all in order and mastered. So that's going to be a treat after this. Yeah. You know what it's called, don't you?
Miscellaneous Paige.
Miscellaneous Paige. Don't you like it?
I love the name.
I know. I've been trying to use that title for years on various things, and everyone keeps saying, no, that's no good.
And you're like, album 23
yeah,
is
well,
when we're going
because
to
all
use
the
it.
songs are slightly, well, they are, not slightly, they're miscellaneous songs. I thought, this is it, I've got it. Luckily, everybody, the record company, my management, everybody said yes.
It's genius.
Yeah, I thought so, thanks.
And it's on its way to Buckingham Palace as we speak.
It will, a signed copy to His Majesty, yes.
And one for
King.
Queen Camilla too.
And, of course, to the pair of them, yeah.
Their own
Absolutely.
copies.
Yeah.
So they're in different wings of the palace and they can still listen.
Yes, you think I should send one to each?
Oh, of
I
course.
think that's a bit much, don't you?
Oh, I think you should.
Do you?
Yeah,
Don't you think they
definitely.
share things?
I think they want their own.
No, they'll share it.
Sitting on the thrones with their headphones in.
No, Camilla will listen first. She'll say to him, I know the track you should listen to, darling. It's called Salt Water Wells in My Eyes.
Oh.
And I tell you why, because it's all about the environment.
Oh, he'll love that.
You'll like that.
You know your audience.
I see.
You do. Always known your audience, Elaine. And it has been the most incredible experience getting to chat to you today,
Oh, it's
honestly,
been lovely.
and
Thank
listening
you.
to you. But we always end the show by me asking our guests, what should we be chatting about more?
You know what I'd like to talk about more is music and arts in schools, in state schools. Because if I hadn't had a brilliant music teacher and music lessons at my state secondary modern girls' school, I wouldn't be talking to you, because academically, that didn't kind of float my boat. Actually, I wouldn't mind having a meeting with Miss Nandy, Culture Secretary, about this very subject, because I know Andrew Lloyd Webber has a charitable organisation that's involved with this, to try and make sure that we've got more music and arts in state schools. It's important.
So everyone has access
So
to it.
everybody has access to everything. That's what I'd like to talk about more and highlight, is that we need more music and arts to be part of the school curriculum as it stands.
And get the funding.
In state schools.
The funding's key, because the funding is going.
Funding.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got to find a way to claw back some money. Stop spending money on peripheral things, and they got to make a list. I'm a very much of a list person. Write a list, a to-do list. How you can save here, like Margaret Thatcher used to say. It's like being a grocer or a shopkeeper. You can't spend what you haven't made. If you haven't got it, you can't spend it.
I need to learn that lesson.
Do you?
I think I do.
Are you a spendthrift?
Well, my fiance is a spender, and then I have to basically then pay half of it, which is annoying, isn't it?
Well, you got to, when you haven't got it, you got to pull the bootstraps up. You got to rein in. You can have to live by your means. These are old-fashioned terms, but they stood me in good stead.
Yeah, they have. I love it. Thank you so much, Elaine. Thank you so much for joining me for this great chat. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And also check out our group chat, our bonus episodes where you get to be part of the conversation too. I'll see you next time.